Silence, all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court, please draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Gladys Amal.
May it please the court, I move that Gladys Amal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Gladys Amal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Harriet Tansy Ashton Maxwell.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Harriet Tansy Ashton Maxwell, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Harriet Tansy Ashton Maxwell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ishani Banerjee.
May it please the court, I move that Ishani Banerjee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ishani Banerjee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Valeria Baranovsky.
May it please the court, I move that Valeria Baranovsky be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Valeria Baranovsky be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kate Barter.
May it please the court, I move that Kate Barter be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kate Barter be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rachel Ella Bickley.
May it please the court, I move that my partner Rachel Ella Bickley be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rachel Ella Bickley be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Artem Brill.
May it please the court, I move my husband to be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Artem Brill be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Patrick Carney.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel Patrick Carney be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Patrick Carney be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chelsea Jane Chamberlain.
May it please the court, I move that Chelsea Chamberlain be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chelsea Jane Chamberlain be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shen Fa Chan.
Let Shen Fa Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adam Yago Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Adam Yao Guo Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adam Yao Jo Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicole Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Nicole Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicole Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mason Barry Cohen.
May it please the court, I move that Mason Cohen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mason Barry Cohen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Samuel James Connor.
May it please the court, I move that my husband Samuel James Connor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Let Samuel James Connor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madison Elizabeth Cotton.
May it please the court, I move that Madison Elizabeth Cotton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madison Elizabeth Cotton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joshua DeRocha.
May it please the court, I move that Joshua DeRocha be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joshua DeRocha be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rana Dia Dale.
May it please the court, I move that Rana Dia Dale be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rana Dia Dale be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lucinda Jurgis.
May it please the court, I move that Lucinda Burgess be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lucinda Jurgis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Maya Gonzalez Malcolm.
May it please the court, I move that Maya Gonzalez Malcolm be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Maya Gonzalez Malcolm be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Maria Mylin Huang.
May it please the court, I move that Maria Mylin Hoang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Maria Mylin Huang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kaya Hussein.
May it please the court, I move that Kaya Hussein be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kaya Hussein be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joy Pufangia,
May it please the court, I move that Joy Tufangia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Joy Pufangia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Stephanie Margaret Johnston,
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Stephanie Margaret Johnston be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Stephanie Margaret Johnston be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Angelo Karen,
May it please the court, I move that Angelo Karam be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Angelo Karam be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Harmanjot Kaur,
May it please the court, I move that Harmanjot Kaur be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Harmanjot Kaur be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Karashini Koshek,
May it please the court, I move that Karashini Kaushik be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Karashini Kaushik be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Cecilia Yeting Mack,
May it please the court, I move that Cecilia Yeting Mack be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Cecilia Yeting Mack be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Paul McArdle,
May it please the court, I move that Paul McArdle be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Paul McArdle be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isla Talia Miller,
May it please the court, I move that Isla Talia Miller be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Isla Talia Miller be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joseph Thomas Manette,
May it please the court, I move that Joseph Thomas Manette be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Joseph Thomas Manette be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Minna Morgos,
May it please the court, I move that Christopher Mina Morgos be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Christopher Mina Morgos be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mina Nawabi,
May it please the court, I move that Mina Nawabi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mina Nawabi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nidhi Prakash,
May it please the court, I move that Nidhi Prakash be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nidhi Prakash be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sargona Rajabi,
May it please the court, I move that Zagona Rajabi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sargona Rajabi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Elisa Reyes Sealtail,
May it please the court, I move that Alyssa Reyes Sealtail be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alyssa Reyes Sealtill be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mary Joanne Selathambu,
May it please the court, I move that Mary Joanne Salathambu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mary Joanne Salathambu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandria Eugenie Semyonov,
I'll just move that. May it please the court, I move that Alexandria Eugenie Semyonov be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexandra Eugenie Semyonov be admitted as a lawyer of the court.
Georgia Elizabeth Stewart,
May it please the court, I move that Georgia Elizabeth Stewart be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Georgia Elizabeth Stewart be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Hannah Louise Strawn,
May it please the court, I move that Hannah Louise Strawn, my niece, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Hannah Louise Strawn be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
George Robert William Stribling,
May it please the court, I move that George Robert William Stribling be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let George Robert William Stribling be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gretel Silliman,
May it please the court, I move that Rachel Suleiman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Bretil Suleiman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Catherine Sun,
May it please the court, I move that Catherine Sun be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catherine Sun be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Corinne Angelique Zortzis,
May it please the court, I move that Corinne Angelique Sortsis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Corinne Angelique Sortsis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yu Han Wang,
May it please the court, I move that Yu Han Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Yuhan Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Annabelle Louise Watts.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Annabelle Louise Watts be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Annabelle Louise Watts be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Robert Edwin Webb.
May it please the court, I move that Robert Edwin Webb be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Robert Edwin Webb be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Danusha Achini Wijesuria.
May it please the court, I move that Danusha Achini Wijesuria be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Danusha Achini Wijesuria be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Catherine Seating Zheng.
May it please the court, I move that Catherine Seating Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catherine Seating Zheng be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Malak Dahane.
May it please the court, I move that my niece Malak Dehaney be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Malak Dehaney be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Now be necessary for the newly admitted lawyers to take an oath or an affirmation following the direction of the officiating officer. Thank you.
Would the first two rows to my right please stand? Gladys Amal, Harriet Tansy Ashton Maxwell, Ishani Banerjee, Valeria Baranowski, Kate Barter, Rachel Ella Brickley, Artem Brill, Daniel Patrick Carney, Chelsea Jane Chamberlain, Shenfa Chan, Adam Yago Chen, Nicole Chen, Mason Barry Cohen, Samuel James Connor, Madison Elizabeth Cotton, Joshua DeRocha. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? I do. Would you please be seated? Can the third and fourth row please stand? Rana Dia Dail, Lucinta Burgess, Maya Gonzalez Malcolm, Maria Mylin Huang, Kaya Hussein, Joy Pufangia, Stephanie Margaret Johnston, Angelo Karam, Harmanjot Kaur, Karishini Koshek, Cecilia Yetin Mack, Paul McArdle, Isla Talia Miller, Joseph Thomas Minette, Christopher Minnow Morgos, Meena Nawabi, Nidhi Prakash, Sargona Rajabi, Alyssa Ray Sealtail, Mary Joanne Selathambu. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? Would you please be seated? Would the two rows to my left please stand? Alexandria Eugenie Semyonov, Georgia Elizabeth Stewart, Hannah Louise Strawn, George Robert William Stribling, Gretel Suleiman, Catherine Sun, Corinne Angelique Zortzis, Yuhan Wang, Annabelle Louise Watts, Robert Edwin Webb, Danusha Achini Wijesaria, Catherine Seating Zheng, Malak Dehaney. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? Would you please be seated?
Well, may I warmly welcome you this afternoon to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. My colleagues on the bench today, to my right, Justice Stevenson, and to my left, Justice Henry, both judges of the Equity Division of this court. And together we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you, the newly admitted lawyers, to practice. We have done so sitting on the land for which the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation have cared and been custodians for thousands of years. The court pays its respects to the Gadigal elders, past, present and emerging, and extends those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. In the spirit of the Uluru Statement from the Heart, an eloquent, accurate and powerful statement which looks towards a fuller expression of Australia's nationhood, with great dignity, we acknowledge the regrettable reality that this nation's laws and legal systems have often in the past delivered the opposite of justice to First Nations people. To all of the newly admitted lawyers here today, congratulations and welcome to the legal profession. It is a day for great celebration for you and your families. You have all worked extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, reading wafer-thin pages of textbooks or staring at screens, and more cases than you can hope to remember. And for most of you, your journey has involved 2 extraordinarily challenging final years affected by the pandemic, in which you have been deprived of many of the opportunities for the forging of close bonds with your peers that those final 2 years usually present. You have faced and come through an additional adversity unprecedented in our lifetimes. That makes your achievement this afternoon, celebrated this afternoon, all the more impressive, and the resilience you have developed will stand you well into the future. It is in a spirit of optimism that I express my sincere hope that you enter the profession at a time when our society is exiting the dreadful impact of the pandemic. We have to keep our fingers crossed. In being admitted as lawyers of this court, you join a profession of ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dates back to the 12th century, and this court first admitted lawyers in 1824. By 1830, the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, as you will do immediately after this ceremony. You will thus become part of an extraordinary tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, or at least for your family and friends, that may be how long it feels like you've been studying, but put that to one side. I do, on that note, also make a formal welcome to all of those of your supporters here today or watching on the live stream. For many of you, no doubt, the support of your family and friends has been invaluable in your legal studies. No doubt they've also often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion, and I would encourage you to take time to thank them. Depending on how good an advocate you are, you might even convince them to shout you dinner, or at least a large round of drinks to celebrate the occasion. The law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation you have just made is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, a Crown Law Office, a government department or agency, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice, and you must strive at all times to uphold these critically important values. Admission as a member of the legal profession is a privilege, it is not a right. It's in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admission has been moved by somebody who is already a member of the profession, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. They are all witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As to formality, you will see from the portraits on the walls of the Banco court that we are wearing the same robes as have been worn by our predecessors, in some cases, literally. Symbolically, that highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales, as I've said, a rule of law which has existed for almost 200 years. In a world in which there is much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, and it's not merely a phrase of some theoretical import. It is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. There is nothing theoretical about that. Although we mark the occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. COVID-19 meant a rapid shift to the increased use of the virtual courtroom and much more technology to ensure access of justice continued in the midst of and throughout the pandemic. Challenges have arisen in terms of open justice, effective community, and fairness to participants in hearing. But for all the challenges we faced, new opportunities presented themselves, including greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with family responsibilities. Better use of technology also has profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and may become accessible to many people, including those in rural or remote areas, those with disabilities, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. Although the increased use of technology offers a number of real advantages, the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, how others react to different situations, how they perform under pressure, and deal with each other. And as I said in my recent swearing-in speech as Chief Justice, while the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention in addition to those brought about by the pandemic. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter a duality. On the one hand, we have come a long way. On the other hand, much still needs to be done. For example, although women were originally not even permitted to practice for more than half of this court's history, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently make up almost 2/3 of solicitors under the age of 30. Women also occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including the Chief Justice of Australia, the Commonwealth Attorney General, the President of the Court of Appeal, who was formerly the Chief Judge in Equity, and Her Honour's predecessor but one was Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley, now the Governor of our state. There should not only be gender diversity, but also strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds, which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates, and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system can, and feel that they can, be properly heard, represented, and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. The admissions ceremonies on which I have sat since becoming a judge 3 years ago including this ceremony, highlight that there is a far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice almost 30 years ago. That is a very good thing. You, the newly admitted lawyers, are in a unique position as you enter the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions can and are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unfair laws, systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures and practices. You should speak up for the things that matter and in which you believe. That is in the finest tradition of being a lawyer. You are the future of the profession and you will direct the course it takes. I would also urge you to engage with your communities outside the law. Your training as lawyers in systematic thought, in the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you very well for service beyond day-to-day practice. You'll also derive great satisfaction from such extracurricular engagement. Turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of friendly advice. As lawyers, you will frequently need to make difficult ethical decisions. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice. One mistake which you must not make is to fall into the trap of giving your clients the advice you think they want to hear. I can assure you that will not be good advice. Justice Gageler, one of our finest judges, before he was a High Court judge, once said, and I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same question for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." That is very good advice, as one might expect from that great judge. Being a lawyer means that you are an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer is, in most cases, an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, or health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competently, and fearlessly, but always with courtesy and integrity. In that context, I want to emphasise the importance of that old-fashioned notion of civility. Aspects of the law, especially if you become involved in the litigation side of practice, appearing in courts, aspects of the law are, by definition, confrontational. The practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load. It's essential that you maintain your detachment, balance, and good humour, remembering at all times that you've become members of a profession, not of a business. And remember this, the best advocates can and do make their point simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could use that reminder from time to time, including myself. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. Even for lawyers, it's often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, your clients and others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and your speaking. I also want to mention something briefly about a concept which might be thought somewhat unusual to mention on an occasion such as this, and that is the concept of failure. there will inevitably be quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. The law tends to attract such personalities. Even so, at various points in your career, you will all make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all make mistakes from time to time, especially when we're starting something new. What is important is you try not to make the same mistake twice. When you do make a mistake, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from your errors. Finally, can I say this? Your physical and mental health are both extremely important. There may, and I dare say will be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. You know as much simply from the study of the law. You must work hard to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have and do from time to time, try to take a step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues that they do so if you think they are struggling. In this context, also remember that the law is a highly collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support and friendship of your peers will prove invaluable. Both the Law Society and the Bar Association, for example, are fully attuned to the potential stresses of practice and are a great source of structured professional support. Can I say this to you all in closing? The law is a wonderful profession. It is stimulating, it is challenging and satisfying, and it is populated by intelligent, committed and dynamic people such as yourselves. You should be proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date. You should remain proud to be a lawyer. It is a very important profession, and a legal career is one that can take you in many different directions, as I've said, all of which are interesting and rewarding. On this day of celebration, hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of all of the judges of the Supreme Court, particularly Justice Stevenson, Justice Henry and myself, we once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.